Hi everyone, welcome to Sales Hustle. This is Harmit Singh, the sales expert, podcast host and a keynote speaker. Today in this video, I shall be sharing with you as to how you can differentiate between an amateurish salesperson and a professional salesperson. So let's get started. In our lives, we will always come across two kinds of salespeople, an amateurish salesperson and a professional salesperson. Let me share my insights with you as to when you're dealing with a salesperson, how will you get to know as to whether that person you are dealing with is an amateur or a professional salesperson. Number one, if a salesperson has a meeting scheduled for, let's say, 1 week down the line at 10 in the morning, and if he starts preparing for that meeting, and if he starts researching for that meeting on that very day, maybe 1 hour, 2 hours before the meeting, he's rushing for that meeting, and on the way, he's just scrolling through his notes, he's scrolling through the Google and trying to find out more about that company. So if you're in a rush, in a hurry, on the travel, on the go, and just 1 hour before the meeting, you're about to figure out as to what you're going to talk about, who is the person you're going to talk about, then you belong to that category of an amateurish salesperson. On the other hand, a professional salesperson is someone, if he has a meeting scheduled 7 days down the line, if he has a meeting scheduled 1 week later, he will start preparing for his meeting a week in advance. It means a professional salesperson researches for his meeting a week in advance, 5 days in advance, 3 days in advance. He will go to Google, he will find out more about that company. He will go to Google News. He will research more about what's happening or what's latest in the news linked with that company. He will even go to LinkedIn and try to connect with the key stakeholders who are going to be present in that meeting. He will do everything in his capacity to find out more about that meeting, to find out more about the people involved in the meeting, to find out more what's happening even in the annual reports of that company. A professional salesperson does a thorough research before entering into any meeting. And that's what differentiates a professional salesperson from an amateurish salesperson. Second, if you ever come across a salesperson who's trying to sell you a product or a service, and if he's just dressed up not in the best of the suits, if he's dressed up not in a proper way, his shirt is not tucked properly, he's probably not wearing a nice tie, his shoes are not polished, then you will get to know in that very moment you're dealing with an amateurish salesperson. A professional salesperson, on the other hand, even if you meet him at 10 in the morning or 6 in the evening, you will always find him dressed sharply. He's always in that best of suits, wearing a tie, the shoes are polished, and wearing an awesome watch. That's when you get to know that you're dealing with the professional salesperson. And professional salesperson who are dressed up in the best of suits, who are dressed up sharply, will always have a competitive edge, will always have an edge over that amateurish salesperson. Third, the moment an amateurish salesperson enters into a meeting, he starts talking about his products and services, the features, the benefits. Maybe just a minute into the meeting, 2 minutes into the meeting, and he is flowing with his sales pitch, the products, features, the benefits, and all that stuff. A professional salesperson, on the other hand, will take time for things to settle down. He will greet the other person nicely. He will talk about that ambience, how amazing the office is looking. He will try to break the ice so that the other person is dealing with, so that the other person is talking to, is also comfortable talking to a professional salesperson. You see, an amateurish salesperson will never take the time out to make the other person feel comfortable. A professional, on the other hand, will take the time out to make the other person, the decision maker, feel comfortable. He will make sure that he doesn't rush into talking about his products and services. And that's what will differentiate a professional salesperson from an amateurish salesperson. Fourth, An amateurish salesperson, when he's talking in a meeting, he just simply talks. He talks and talks and talks. He talks about his services, his products, his features, his benefits. A professional, on the other hand, listens. You see how contrasting these two things are, from speaking to listening. You might be wondering, as a salesperson, your duty, your job is to speak, to talk. Obviously, that's there. But at the same time, listening is a very critical component. Most of the sales experts will tell you this thing, that in sales, it's 70% listening and 30% speaking. But an amateur, he will just speak and speak and speak 90% of the time. He's least bothered in listening. A professional will take time to listen, to comprehend the things the other person is speaking, to make sense of the things he's listening. And that's when you will get to know whether you're dealing with the professional who is listening or an amateurish salesperson who is just into a monologue. Fifth, an amateurish salesperson will give up. Yes, an amateurish salesperson will give up after one or maybe two or maybe three objections. A professional, on the other hand, loves objections, loves facing objections, loves handling the objections. You see, as a salesperson, whenever you are into a meeting, whenever you're talking to a client or customer, you will always face objections. You will always come across questions. An amateurish will fear objections. An amateurish will fear taking the questions from the customer. A professional, on the other hand, will take 5, 10, 15 objections and will handle it smoothly. He's not scared of objections. He will not fear the objections. He loves objections because he knows whenever the objections are coming at him, that's a sign that he is moving in the right direction. That's a sign that sale is about to happen. And that's when you will get to know that whether you're dealing with a professional salesperson who loves objection or an amateurish who fear objections. So those are my 5 key insights as to how you can differentiate between an amateurish salesperson and a professional salesperson. But let me give you one bonus insight into this world of differences between a professional and an amateur. A professional salesperson is always motivated by helping out others. Yes, a professional loves to help others. At the core of his heart, he loves helping out other people through his products and services. And an amateur, on the other hand, feels like he's just doing a regular 9 to 5 job. That's it. So that's all from my side. Thank you for watching Sales Essence. Bye.